Tony Alcinas tritt an gegen eine ehemalige Nummer 1 der BDO. Seit 2015 ist er bei der PDC, ist zurzeit auf Weltranglistenplatz Nummer 32. Herzlich willkommen, the Little Biscuit, James Wilson.
James Wilson enters the stage in his unmistakable style, the Lethal Biscuit, a nickname that was given to him by my co-commentator Dan Dawson. He takes on Tony Alcinas, the Spaniard who had a fantastic run at the World Championship the back end of last year. Two men that have been in decent form. We've got the world number 32 taking on the world number 64, so both in important places in the world rankings. And Wilson is a man who is very unfortunate not to reach a third PDC Pro Tour final. Recently in Milton Keynes, lost out to Dave Chisnell in a semi, but he's one of those players, Dan, who I know many of us think has what it takes to win a title in the PDC, because he won plenty in the BDO.
Yeah, of course. And, you know, including one of their big ones. He won the World Trophy, didn't he, in 2014. He was a BDO #1, and they don't give away that ranking, you know, by collecting a few tokens out of crisp packets.
Although I'm sure that James Wilson does collect tokens out of crisp packets, or perhaps biscuit packets.
Yeah, you could be forgiven with his walk-on and his nickname for thinking that James Wilson isn't entirely all there.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. First leg, Tony to throw first. Game on.
Well,
he's the whole package as far as a dart player is concerned, though. Big scorer, James Wilson.
what was the hoodie he was wearing when we saw him
May
yesterday?
contain biscuits scrawled across the front of it.
It's not just a dart show, it's a general theme in life that he doesn't want.
Wholeheartedly embrace this biscuit theme.
Yeah, cladded in biscuit attire.
95.
But he will have a game on his hands here. I mean, we picked out these two matches, the one that we've just seen, which was an absolute thriller between Martin Schindler and the eventual winner, Chris Dobey.
Was that another one that I said is going to be the game of the night, and then you said this is definitely going to be as good?
Well, I don't think I said exactly that, but
I remember
it
like that, yeah.
You said that Danny Noppert, Christopher Ratajski was going to be the match of the day, and what a load of filth that turned out to be. Going to play that game.
Touche.
42. $128.
James Wilson, if you're looking for a form guide, you have a look at the Pro Tour events. Obviously, had that semi-final run in the most recent one, but in general, averaging 95 over the Six Players Championship. That's very good. Top 20. And there have been some big averages in there.
58.
105 a couple of times. A few just tickling the ton, a couple over 103. And as I say, he's a very big 180 hitter, is the Little Biscuit.
Well, is he an 80 hitter? Because that's what he needs here for an immediate break. Having to move across.
40.
A bit far across there.
145.
Antonio, or Tony, as he's going by now.
It almost sounds a little less Spanish, doesn't it?
121.
Tony.
Yeah, Tony. Now, James Wilson going for double top.
for El break of throw.
Tony required 24.
Not to be.
That could be tricky. The flight is obscuring the double a little, but he's landed it in alongside.
Second leg change to throw first. Game on.
An underwhelming opening leg, but one that Tony gets in the bag. Yeah, just to underline how big a 180 hitter James Wilson is nowadays. Only 6 players have hit more 180s than him in the opening 6 Players' Championship events. All this stuff's on Dart Connect. You can go and check it out for yourself. But he's hit 59 in 19 games, so more than 3 per game. And in best of 11, that's not bad going.
Well, he has had this issue with bounce outs as well, so I wonder how many would have been added if all his darts managed to stay in the board. Afflicted
45.
more than most, James Wilson. I think one of the statos on Twitter actually did statistics on bounce outs, and he came out top.
Yeah, that does not surprise me.
100.
Although he does seem to have cut down on them a little bit. And Benito must be right up there, I would have thought. He's sees a lot of his darts end up on the floor.
100.
Yeah, I think they were the top 2.
161.
161 then for Wilson, but it doesn't have to go. He's gone for the treble 17, but he's going to... Well, no, he did go for the bullseye. He's left himself an awkward double, but Alcinas would have to make a real dent in this to apply any kind of pressure.
140.
A bit like that.
He required 30.
Now, is it straight at it or does he split it? He'll split it.
I find it slightly bizarre to risk going for the bullseye and then coming back to split what you've left. And he could be punished. Well, James Wilson will want to roll back the tape and lay up and leave double 16.
Third leg Tony to throw first. Game on.
Because a 116 from Tony Alcinas has doubled his lead and given him a break, and he's got the real advantage in this match.
99.
For him, for Tony Alcinas, he was threatening to do well in a big tournament. He reached the last 16 at the Worlds in the end, but before that he'd reached a couple of quarterfinals on the Pro Tour, one that had been converted into a semi, but he hasn't so far in 2018 really built on that, has he?
No, not at all. But maybe this is when that happens. And Tony's been around for a long while.
91.
He's accrued quite a lot of experience, despite the fact he's, you know, until the back end of last year, you didn't really think much of him, to be honest, because he wasn't really making any impact.
Well, he was for a very long time the top player in Spain, and then Cristo Reyes has had that mantle for what, 3 or 4 years now?
60.
But they all travel together. There's 3 Spanish players on the Pro Tour at the moment with Jose Justicia. Now Alcinas doesn't risk going for the bullseye. He does lay up. And they all get on very well. They're good friends. They travel together. They see themselves as flag bearers for the game in Spain. And I think that the success of Reyes has kind of spurred on Alcinas.
Well, it's certainly a narrative that fits the facts.
Fourth leg James to throw first. Game on.
I interviewed the 3 of them actually in Minehead, and
in Spanish?
100.
Bet some of it was.
Yeah, it was. Not quite sure what they said, so I'm just going to have to make this bit up. No. What he did say was when he was drawn against Cristo Reyes at the World Championship, obviously he went on to beat him and reach the last 16. He was genuinely devastated with that draw. And the pair of them were.
57.
And is there anyone else, you know, he would have been fine with it. Players that get on with each other, players that don't get on with it, but it really is a strong friendship and bond between those players, and they do genuinely like to see each other doing well.
Yeah, and I mean, Christo certainly played like he was Devastator, but then again, he's been in a horrible run of form until quite recently when there have been signs of life. There's signs of life from James Wilson here with his first 180. We've had to wait 3.5 legs for it.
59.
That must
James,
be
you require 164.
over his usual ratio. It would have been interesting to see had he found
60.
a couple of requisite trebles there, whether he would have gone for the bull that time around.
Ooh, now then.
I
I think that's the only score that could really have worried James Wilson there, and Antonio Alcinas has pulled it out the bag.
Well, he did it with a 140 earlier on and then took out the 116. Wilson hasn't hit a double yet in 6 attempts.
88. Tony require 102.
That's become 7. Alcinas has only missed once.
It's a snarl from Alcinas there.
Well, 2 darts in hand, 82. Would treble 14 have been a better option?
Yes, it would.
Well, thanks for clearing that up. Can James Wilson clear this up?
No score.
Well, no score, no doubles for James Wilson. 10 times he's taken aim
Tony
at
require
a
55.
double in this match, and 10 times he's failed to hit one.
James, you require 16.
Well, the Lethal Biscuit looking anything but lethal on the doubles right now. It's looking very safe, unthreatening, harmless. But there's one!
Fourth leg. James Wilson, hit like Tony to throw first, game on.
Yeah, shades of James Wilson's display at Lakeside, when I believe it was Peter Sajwani that he faced in a clash-a-rooney in the first round. And Wilson had been asked beforehand about the game and about his potential campaign, and he said, "Oh, these lads, they've not seen me playing for a little bit. I've been away for a little bit, but I am so ready, so ready." Which he actually had a bit of a hashtag on his Twitter feed. He had it on his shirt for a long while, because the phrase "Sir Ready" came back to haunt him when he could not hit a double for love nor money, and he ended up being dumped out of the tournament in the early stages. And you see the stats there suggest that Wilson is outscoring Tony, but his finishing is really, really bad.
Fair assessment.
140.
And that is why Tony Alcinas has complete control of the contest at the moment, but that's a little bit of a slip.
41.
And Wilson has a break chance coming up.
97.
Twice James Wilson has reached finals in PDC events, beaten by Michael van Gerwen in his first. That was in 2016 in the very last Players' Championship event of last year. He lost out in the final to Johnny Clayton, who we will see in action later this evening.
Treble 18 and ball. Now then, the ball. He's much better on the ball.
James Wilson.
Well, it's the Steve West effect, isn't it, from this afternoon? Couldn't hit a double for love nor money, and then once he's hit one, he's never going to miss again.
140.
He may have just sped up a touch here, the Biscuit. Seemed to race through that opening visit.
140.
I'm losing count of the amount of ton plus finishes we've had this evening.
60.
Well,
Dear me.
2 bounce outs. beware the referee, they're only willing to pick up one of the darts that went on the floor. And punished to a full effect.
108!
That's got to hurt, hasn't it?
It has.
60.
Because Tony has stolen the darts here.
Just as Wilson had clawed his way back into it.
And looking much more likely as well.
59.
And I'm not 100% sure if those darts were in the treble 20 or around it, but
131. Tony require 100.
he could well have been in a position to finish in the previous visits. Alcinas still is. Not anymore.
54. James, you require 110.
Can't afford any bounce outs here.
42. Tony requires 68.
He's not looking jovial now, James Wilson.
60.
2 darts missed for a 4-2
James, you require 68.
Would have been a break of throw. Wilson could get 2 darts, may only get 1, should at least get 1 for the leg. But the outer ring has not been his friend. It's been horrible to him.
48. Tony require 8.
And the horror continues. Could be about to get worse for Wilson.
Game from the 6th leg. Tony Alcinas. 7th leg Tony to throw first. Game on.
Just wonder how badly those bounce outs may have affected him mentally, because he did
134.
take to social media last time, didn't he? Last time out, and said he'd had enough of his darts bouncing out, but I'm not sure if there's something that he could do to prevent it.
Well, he has tinkered with things. He had new darts
100.
and he tinkered with flights and stems and stuff. I remember him playing one Euro tour where it looked like he had the stems in the wrong way round. Sorry, the flights in the wrong way round.
May have been a genuine mistake.
Well, yeah, could be.
He was the one that suffered that outrageous bounce out that nestled its way back into one of the darts, didn't he?
Yeah, well, he's had a couple of things. I think he also had one where it bounced out and the flight got trapped under the actual 1 number at the top of the board, and it was just hanging loosely there. I've never seen darts behave in the way that James Wilson's darts behave. But then again, I've not seen many people that behave in the way James Wilson behaves.
120.
Well, he can't believe it, can he? Well, it's something that he's used to, but
Yeah, you would have thought he'd be used to it.
He's still, you can see it's affecting him. He's looking across to his management and the following that he's got with him.
45.
And look, I've spoken to people far more knowledgeable than I, people who are experts in aerodynamics, people who are experts in darts and how they fly and I've said, well, what is it? Is it something about his throw? Is it something, because it looks solid to me, and nobody can give me any real definitive kind of idea about what is going wrong, why he is so prone to these kind of things, and he has cut down on it. You don't think nearly 60 180s and 170 legs of darts on the Pro Tour this year, if your darts are falling out every other visit.
57.
Well, again, he
Tony require 81.
could have been on 61 rather than 121, had that one stayed in.
Game from the
And he
7th
could have
leg.
been
Tony Alcinas.
at 4-3 rather than 5-2 down.
Game on.
Well, James Wilson has got to put together a run of 4 legs here, and if he's going to do that, it's going to be, it's hard enough anyway
85.
right now, because Tony's not playing brilliantly, but it's solid stuff, the high 80s sort of average from Tony. It's going to be hard enough to do that, but if he's only using 2 darts on half of his visits, I mean, it's almost impossible, isn't it? And this could be a very first win for Tony Alcinas against James Wilson in his career. There are a couple of players who like we saw earlier,
99.
where he seemed to have an annual meeting. But in all the previous meetings, it's been James Wilson who's prevailed.
60.
And you see, that first 9 average could be even higher were it not for the amount of darts and points on the floor. This time, surely.
121.
Well, it stayed in.
Maybe you should just focus on, you know, if he hits a treble 20, go down for the 19s and then go for the 18s if he hits that.
134.
Just keep his darts as far away from each other as possible. They cannot be trusted. When they get together, they behave badly.
It's kind of 180 or bust,
100.
isn't it? It's a darts roulette for James Wilson. With those meetings you mentioned,
140.
2016, one in 2017, both on the floor. So the first on-stage meeting may well be going Alcinas' way. And it may well be going his way right now.
Tony requires 70.
Topsy once. Very close.
Game
And that is even better. Tony Alcinas claims his
Tony
first
Alcinas.
ever win against James Wilson. The Spaniard is through to the second round of the German Darts Grand Prix and will take on Alan Norris. James Wilson inspecting the board, looking for some reason why his darts wouldn't stick in it. Not a happy man, the Yorkshireman. He exits the tournament at the first round stage. Tony Alcinas will be back tomorrow to take on Chuck Norris. We have got 3 more games for you tonight. Johnny Clayton, the Ferret, against Rene Burns, another host nation qualifier. Adrian Lewis, the 2-time world champ, against Jordi Maywisser. And the former world champion Stephen Bunting against Christian Girdle coming up.
Happy because it's my first win in the European Tour.
The very first win?
This year and last year, in 3 years, is my first win. I qualified 3 times, but no win.
Great atmosphere tonight, isn't it?
Great people. It's incredible. It's full. It's only Saturday, the first day.
Your nickname is the Samurai. You are playing a lot in Asia, in China and Japan, is that right?
In Japan. I stay in Japan in every year, travel to Japan.
For how many weeks?
10 days or 1 week. Yeah, because I like the culture, I like the people, and my sponsor is from Japan. I like.
Cool. Alan Norris tomorrow, the next one?
Yes, I think, I hope.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Tony. Thank you very much.
Dankeschön.
Tony Alcinas. Sein erster Sieg auf der European Tour seit langer, langer Zeit.